very good defenders, and they're going to want to do their best to create some turnovers here.
Clark, quickly, you can count it.
Zarshis is looking so much more comfortable, getting healthy, getting her legs under her. You're starting to see those threes go through more consistently.
And we talked to Stephanie White about just that. She said, Caitlin's getting her confidence back. Her movements are great. Speaking of who's back, Brittany Griner. No good on her first attempt. And the Fever love to run.
Transition defense will be key. That was a big breakdown for the Sun. You have two Sun players on that strong side, and Clark just gets out quick.
This is Diamond Miller in her first year here with this franchise. And drills it on the outside.
You know what? We've been talking a lot about defense. Offensively, these teams came out to play.
There's only been one missed shot. The Fever, 2 for 2 from the field. Boston down to Mitchell. Grabbed by Rivers. She sees something. Edwards tried the entry pass. That entry pass from the top of the key is difficult.
And pace is going to be something that's going to be monitored throughout the course of this one. The feed by Rivers, quick get ahead for Aaliyah Edwards. And then the Fever, this is their bread and butter, exactly what they want to do. Billings up ahead to Clark.
Griner dumps it down low, high-low action.
Already you're seeing the continuity of this Connecticut team.
Well, we talk about the fact that they're second youngest team in the league, but Brittany Griner provides a veteran presence for this group.
She provides a presence, and Lacan just organizes everything. The more comfortable Lacan gets now that she's back and getting a few more games under her belt after finishing her commitments over with Team France, I think there's just so much more that she can add here to this group.
Lacan left open, takes advantage. The scoring continues. 6-point lead and a 7-0 run for the Sun. Boston. And that's a personal on Brittany Griner.
For where she can get to in pockets on the floor because of how quick she is.
Clark already has 1-3. Kicks it to Billings. And Hull, second chance opportunity. Boston, she's worked on that shot, and it shows.
How much does that change her game? I mean, her presence in the post and then be able to stretch things out, something that she's added and done so with an efficiency this season, over 42%.
Griner, short corner. Going back to Aaliyah Boston, that was her 13th three on the season. Only 17 in her 3 previous years. Dumped down to Hull. Hauled down by Miller. Diamond against Boston. Foul on the rebound.
And Lexi Hall does a lot of the little things we always know. It's those hustle plays. She's always in the action right here, able to get another possession and then kick it out to Aaliyah Boston, as you talked about. And we got a chance to talk with her. We've seen it in her game. She said last November, that's when she got with her trainer, started working on it, continued to just grind it, finding a way to be consistent with that look. You saw it through the unrivaled season, and now it's a huge part of what Indiana can bring offensively.
Clark likes to shoot going left and does. Closing the gap. And Lacan wasting no time.
Caitlin Clark, she's in a rhythm. This is one of her favorite things to do, as you said, going left, and she's able to free up some space with that step back when she's got single coverage on her.
Kelsey Mitchell, same spot. Why not? It's a teammate thing. And just like that, Indiana has the lead after being down by 6.
Kelsey Mitchell on pace for a career year in points, and you see this. She just goes right to her spot. I think Miller's worried about that screen that may be coming from Boston, and it is read and react. Kelsey's talked a lot about it, so has Caitlin, just their ability to also play off of one another.
Nelson Adota off. Edwards keeps the possession alive. And Nelson Adota in the basketball game for Brittany Griner, who has 2 fouls on the bench. Let's take a look at our DraftKings player tracker. DraftKings is the #1 sportsbook for live betting. To get in on the action, download the app and use promo code GLASS when you sign up. This is a Sun team that has dealt with a number of injuries this season. Edwards still trying to get back into it after that concussion. She's come back with fierce, though. 24 points in her last outing. Billings on the drive. She was confident there. 2 free throws in her future.
So much of that opened up, though, because of the pressure Aaliyah Boston puts in the paint and at the rim. It sucked in the defense, and then it allowed for that quick kick out. And that's where Indiana is so good. For as much as they want to shoot threes and you see the high volume of it, it's about paint touches to balance it out and open up the floor.
We were talking to Stephanie White today, and she said she wants Aaliyah Boston to be a hub, right? That point forward position, and she compared it to what Nikola Jokic is able to do in Denver.
In talking with Aaliyah earlier, she was telling us, she said, I learned that my senior year of high school, I knew that I had to add so much to my game, and you could see it because she does a great job with her court mapping, her vision, and you can put her on different places on the floor for her to then see when she needs to be a playmaker and when she can take it herself.
Yeah, and then she went a step further and said in college, Dawn Staley said, hey, if you want to do something in the league, you got to be able to pass out of the post.
But that's the beauty of a player like Boston, and you see this with others across the league every single season, what she continues to add to her game and the level that she's playing at on both ends of the floor this year.
The Fever in the middle of an 8-0 run. The Sun trying to get the momentum back. They had a 6-point lead midway through the first. Miller down to Nelson Adota up against Boston. Tough.
Olivia Nelson Adota has been so efficient. She understands where to be on the floor, what's asked of her, but it's her presence in the paint that has been a difference maker offensively for Connecticut early.
Clark trying to create some space. You saw the facial expression. Aaliyah Boston, no one picks her up. Momentum continues for the Fever. Rivers missed at the rim. Adota tried to get it right back. It'll be Fever basketball for Indiana in the early part of this one. Mitchell off the screen. So good at creating. Back and forth between Mitchell and Clark. Shot clock keeps going. Mitchell all the way to the cup.
And that's just nasty. The quickness and explosiveness that she has in pulling players out and then the room to operate. But she's a blur getting to the basket.
To Miller, they go up against Clark. Met by 2, the kick out. Missed by Morrow, but nice to have her back. Missed 2 games with a left leg strain. Second leading scorer on this team. Leading rebounder, Clark again. First miss from the outside from both the Fever and Clark. Hey, they want to go inside right now. Works out.
And a big part of that is the deep positioning by Nelson Adota. You saw where she was getting the ball at. It's just a commanding presence that she's brought to the table.
Got some subs in for the Fever. Cunningham and Hines Allen. Back to Mitchell. Billings, nice poise there, met by multiple defenders.
And she continued to keep that planted foot down and make reads to see where they were coming from.
Here comes Morrow, tough angle. Nelson Adota doing her work. Five-point game. Fever up. Mitchell stays right here.
And Connecticut Sun are so dominant when they're able to find their way inside the paint. They're predicated on those points scored. And you see there just a little swim move by Nelson Adota. Look at how deep she is able to score around Billings And that's a big part of it. They've not taken a ton of threes this season. And when they have not been that effective. So for them to be able to get those type of looks inside is really critical.
When Coach Mezion was telling us, we want to play inside out. In order to do that, you got to do some damage in the paint. Make them guard you there. That's Johnson, drills it. Right off the bench. Here comes Kennedy Burke. Drives baseline, nice reverse.
And goes out of that trap. They're trying to blitz there on those side pick and rolls.
The Fever reminding you got to get back, especially after a score.
And this is a really nice job in the read, as you see here, by Burke. Because you got two coming at her, trying to blitz that side screen, and she just blows right by to the baseline.
Kennedy Burke won a championship with the Liberty in 2024. Coach Mezion expects her to be a leader with this group. That foul's on Raven Johnson. Just her first.
And Indiana really hedging these pick and rolls, and whether they're coming with the trap or they're just making sure to step up high, they are forcing a lot of pressure on these ball screens by Connecticut.
Nelson Nadota putting a stamp on it early. Clark, bounce to Billings.
There's the pace you see even in the half court. Pace in the run, the attention and gravity that Clark has.
Burke drawing the foul. How did Monique Billings even know that basketball was coming her way?
And coming from the trail, but that's a big part of when we say the chemistry between this Indiana team, how they've been playing together. You got to think about not only the new pieces they have, like Monique Billings, trying to figure out exactly how and where she's going to fit in, but also for everyone. They've struggled with injuries last season and missing a lot of key components, Caitlin Clark being a huge factor in that, and I think just overall sometimes you got to give things time. And the start of the season for a lot of teams across the league, it does take time to get into a rhythm and build that type of continuity that just doesn't happen immediately.
Well, I just want to throw something out there. Everybody keeps talking about, in their perspective, a rocky start. 7-5, settled in a very competitive league.
Exactly, and that's what it is.
Is
like,
that
you look at the talent.
bad? Just a question. Meantime, Ledger Walker recovers another turnover for the Fever. Will the Sun capitalize? Johnson got a hand on it. Morrow asking for it. Pounded it in the paint. It's working.
That's a tough finish.
Timpson regains composure. 2-point basketball game, less than a minute to go here in the first. Oh, Mitchell in the toolkit. Great rebound by Johnson. They get another chance. Quick steps. Blocked by Dota. Doesn't matter. And one opportunity for Timpson.
What is that Indiana will go to a 5-out set, and once the penetration comes, they're so quick with the cutters. Cunningham coming from the weak side. You see Timpson there on the strong side. Look at, you got two players on Kelsey Mitchell. What a strong drive. But that's where I think the continuity and the uniqueness of what Indiana can do offensively with how many weapons they have to be able to get in the paint and then the cutting actions off of it.
Well, and their best players will dish to you. They're looking for you. Talking about Caitlin Clark, leads the league in assists, but also Kelsey Mitchell as well. Adota needs some help. Gets right back into the paint. All right, Morrow around Hines. Allen, yes. Did she kiss after that?
And two, I think it's an important thing to note is that pace and wanting to run it, which is something that Connecticut really has not been able to do in the early part of the season.
When you have to remember, Brittany Griner was on the bench for most of that first quarter with the 2 fouls. Here comes Clark. Hauled down by who else? Morrow taken away by Timpson. Another opportunity. Mitchell tees it up. Back to the Sun.
Some quality looks, though. A big thing for Indiana will continue to be to take care of the basketball. And there you see Brittany Griner It's such an important piece, and not just her production on the floor, but the veteran presence that she provides and just the understanding of what it takes to win.
Nelson Adota has been going to work. All right, the battle down low. Love to see it. Lead back to the Sun after that Nelson Adota layup. This is Morrow. Clark is looking. And a foul on Morrow off the ball.
Well, where the Sun have been getting a lot of production, Olivia Nelson Adota in the paint, and you said it, she's just imposing her will in where she's getting the catches from, whether it's back to the basket or face up. She's going through traffic, but it's the strength of just being really aggressive and attacking the basket.
Clark finding her way. Back and forth we go. Both these teams shooting over 60% from the field. Morrow, like the matchup, that's what she does. Offensive rebounds. Timpson battling with the best.
That's some Timpson defense, my goodness.
Clark gets it up the floor so quickly, getting the Fever into its offense. Boston, hand off to Clark, the dump down right back to Boston. Timpson has had some impactful plays.
Nothing goes down for Indiana off that possession, but you love the process of the variability of shots they were getting, how they were so quick in passing and moving the basketball.
The zip from Lacan down to Burke and one.
Once again, getting the ball inside. This time to Burke. He just does a great job getting to a spot and shooting over Cunningham. And here, Caitlin Clark, we know she's just so crafty, and so as she continues to snake through the defense, finds a gap. Really for both these teams, or we talk about this so often in different games, pace, yes, full court transition and stuff, but the way that everyone is moving in the half court, how quickly they're cutting, continuing to find open teammates, that's what's broken down the defense in a lot of different areas on both sides to create these quality looks.
Well, players on both sides moving without the basketball. It's created opportunities. Clark doing just that. Trying to get away from Lacan. Blocked by Rivers. She got up. The crowd fired up after that one. Do they capitalize? Lacan, remember, she had 24 points a couple nights ago. That one tipped away. Clark on the run. Looked at it, gave it to Mitchell. Quick burst off the first step. Mitchell.
This is a fun game to watch because of it. And again, Mitchell and Clark off of one another, keeping the defense on their toes.
Adota, step through. Tip back in, and a foul.
We've had shot making, we've had block parties. There is activity everywhere. Look at Sanaya Rivers, those long arms coming over with the block. But then at the other end, it's this time Caitlin Clark with the strip, leads to the run out, and then some great two-person action between Mitchell and Clark that eventually leads to what else? Kelsey Mitchell just darting downhill.
This is what you love about the WNBA. Up and down the standings, you can expect back and forth each and every night. Everybody, no matter what team they're on, no matter how the team is doing, these are pros out here, and we've got a tie ball game with 6:43 in the second. And you love that Aaliyah Boston can get a rebound and bring it up herself. And Indiana, well, we talk about the pace, but they're poised too. Trying to find something in the half court. That foul's on Lacan. Just her first.
I know Lacan not happy with this, and a big part of Lacan's strength comes on this defensive end. Her ability to pressure the basketball. She's got quickness, she's got length.
And she has been connected to Clark all evening long. Finally gets free. No go on the triple.
He doesn't go through. What a screen by Boston and a free up. And those are the things you just want to continue to work on how you're finding those looks.
Rivers on skates. She's been impactful.
I think, too, just her building confidence, and especially where and how she was going to get looks on the offensive side.
And Lacan's got to be careful with some of that physicality. Another foul on Lacan.
Finish it. The creativity you see, a couple of strong veterans on the floor for these groups.
The Fever now back up by 5. It was the recognition, too, that maybe I should get out of the paint.
Yeah.
Where BG is at 6'9" and find an opening. But the toughness, too, that it takes. You're going under the rim and then to come back out and find your balance. 41-36 and a timeout for Connecticut. They've got a challenge. We'll explain it on the other side. Out of bounds call. Kevin Fahey, Claire Simmons, Tyler Merkovich taking an extra look after the challenge from Rashid Mezion on the side of the Connecticut Sun on this out of bounds call.
So it looks like Kelsey Mitchell gets some fingers on it on the deflection, and I don't think Ledger Walker touched this. So watch the right fingertips of Mitchell. Yeah, some great angles by our crew, and
looks pretty clear to me.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that there was a touch by the Sun.
So, of course, if this is successful, then the Sun will have another challenge for the rest of the game. You just always think about that when you challenge in the first half. We will await the decision. We sit at 41-36, the first meeting between these two teams this season, as they will head to Houston next season.
After review, the ball is last touched by Indiana. Therefore, the call is overturned to Connecticut basketball. It's a successful challenge. However, Connecticut charged the timeout, but they can challenge again for the remainder of the game. It's going to be 12 on the shot clock and 2:59 on the game clock. Connecticut basketball.
You're 1 for 1, Sarah.
You know what? Every now and again we get lucky.
That one was pretty clear.
When it's clear as that, I think that's what Coach Messian was saying. It was I didn't want to have to use a challenge on that, but it happens.
Possession stays right here with Connecticut. This is the rookie, Ledger Walker, out of UCLA, and a call down low. That's on Boston.
And this is where you can anticipate Sun will continue to try and run their offense into Brittany Griner and use her on the inside with that presence.
Just 2 points so far. Been short on that hook. Remember, she missed the last 2 games. Monique Billings and her ability to run the floor sets up Hull. The extra effort on the offensive glass.
And those are the ones, especially for a shooter. And Lexi Hull has been a little inconsistent this year. She started really hot, knocking down three-point shot and struggled a bit. But when you're a shooter spotted up in the corner, you have to reach down and catch a pass off target. Sometimes not as easy to get your legs set underneath you.
No points so far tonight for Lexi Hull, but the past 2 games, she scored in double figures. That's the 4th team foul in Connecticut, so next one, we're in the bonus. Clark navigating around the screen from Boston. Mitchell. And those are the plays that you love from Lexi Hall.
That's why she's on the floor. It's the hustle plays, it's the extra effort, it's the possession, it's what she brings. We talked a lot about this defensive effort and improvement for Indiana, and she's a big part of that.
Clark on the inbound. Somehow she knew Mitchell would be open. Predicted the future there.
Well, yeah, and Mitchell was coming through. She got caught up there by a defender holding her before she was coming through. It was a well-executed play, and she was just strong on her run. Now she's like a running back running through. She didn't have the ball yet, but using those legs.
The momentum continues for Indiana. 9-0 run. Miller behind the back, swatted away by Billings. Recovered by the Fever. Mitchell conducting traffic. Hull decides not to take it. Gets it back to Mitchell. And Lexi Hull, multiple offensive rebounds. Zip down to Billings.
So let's go back to that out-of-bounds under. Caitlin Clark finding Kelsey Mitchell coming through. Mitchell a little tied up, and look, she keeps on running. Strong on the finish as she's got Morrow coming behind her. We came into this game thinking a lot about the Sun and how they're so effective on the offensive glass. It's been the Fever that have taken advantage of crashing.
7 second chance points for Indiana. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Sarah and I were talking before the game. That Minnesota-Vegas matchup, I mean, I know there's other games going on in other leagues, but
you know,
come on now.
multi-screen. Get your multi-screen going.
For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or the WNBA app.
We'll be out in Valhalla on Monday.
I'm so excited for that.
Did you call the game there?
I've never been to Valhalla.
Oh,
it sounds like an experience. Meantime, Morrow hasn't been able to find her rhythm from the outside just yet. 0 for 3 on threes. And Clark again to Mitchell. Their connection on display.
That's just beautiful reads between both players. Is flowing right into an action. This early offense, and it starts with that Boston screen up top. Mitchell just cutting through. And this is where it's so challenging with the balance and spacing on the floor for Indiana when they're able to get into the early offense. Your half court is not set because they cut, as we have talked about, and you've said so well, off the ball.
Coming up on American Express at the half.
Oh, let's
go.
What
they got for us today?
Big money.
They only show
Big
mates.
money Bird.
LaChina Robinson, Cheryl Miller, and Sue Bird. Sue's top backcourts in the W? You have to think it would include maybe this combo of Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark.
Definitely think so.
But what fascinates me and impresses me so much with Caitlin Clark and her ability to facilitate is she's hitting you before you're even open. She knows where you're going before you get there.
And that's a huge part of it, right in stride.
Brittany Griner up against Boston. 4 points for BG. Under a minute to go here in the second. Tipped away by LeCon. She keeps it. Almost intercepted by Hull. How did the Sun use this possession? Back to Griner. Now she's on the perimeter, though. Jump ball. It'll be Rivers and Mitchell. Brittany Griner.
The Sun continue to look for her on the inside, and she's been short on a handful of her first ones as she's just making her way back. This time strong with the finish. And Brittany Griner, just a special individual. Her resume and accomplishments speak for themselves, and what she can do, not just offensively, but what she'll bring defensively.
Clock issue. Just as we were going through that jump ball, there was only about 4 seconds left on the shot clock when the ball was tipped up. 1.3 is what we see right now. Burke will inbound for the Sun. Enough time for a dribble.
They're going inside.
Rivers. And Lacan, big rebound. An opportunity for momentum going into the half. Sarah says they should go inside. They do. Fading Griner. And after two, Indiana holds on to its lead, extending it.
The floor, but look at right here. Everyone has got their moments and their opportunities to make sure that they're finding some of those gaps, the lanes, and they did such a nice job of varying, whether it was from the three-point line, on the inside, paint touches, all of those things were really important.
Caroline, we bring you in for the Sun perspective.
Well, Zora, Rashid Mezion was happy with his bench production in the first half, as you'd imagine. He said because of injuries to start the season, everyone has just stepped up and played different roles. We honestly can't really distinguish between the starters and the bench, but said everyone's contributing, and he's happy to see that. He did say they were aggressive in the first quarter, felt like he went away from that in the second quarter. He just said defensively we're not where we need to be, Zora.
Just 9 points in that second quarter, but a positive start after that three from Sanaya Rivers. Coach Mezion also talking about bench scoring, 19 bench points for the Sun. Third quarter action here. Clark has Lacan on her. That's been the matchup so far. Fading, scoring. The versatility in her game.
That is so tough. They allow her to operate on an island with Lacan and just keep her on the strong side, put everyone on the weak side. Lacan's not an easy defender to create space and shoot over.
Lacan, a pull-up of her own. Short on that one.
Well, anytime Connecticut can find some three-point shooting is certainly as helpful. An area Sanaya Rivers has continued to improve upon. Great cross-court look from Lacan, but this time Lacan, she gets some Caitlin Clark. Buckets from the mid-range, just getting to her spot. Great counter moves to get it off.
You can't guard it all, right?
In theory, those are shots that you'd be more willing to concede.
Off balance by Billings. It goes anyway.
To some capacity, you're going to get got, but a tough, contested mid-range look is something you would want.
Quick rebound by Hull. Gets it up the floor.
That's a great get back by Rivers.
Billings, no back-to-back, shuffles it to Boston, in and out.
Hey,
10-point game. 2 minutes gone by in the third. Rivers already has 1-3 in the quarter. Kick it to Lacan. Holds the follow-through.
Again, that's just a really nice play of getting it to the second side, forcing that shift and rotation of the defense a little bit late. An area Lacan is working on, improvements from the three-point line.
Trading threes.
Feels similar to the way this game got started.
But if you're the Sun, you got to get some stops, can't trade baskets.
No question. And for Connecticut, they've gotten their offense going a little bit. Take a look at this. Everyone's just continuing to be shifted. That's a great screen set by Aaliyah Edwards to open up Lacan, but on the other side, they get Caitlin Clark going to her left. Little sidestep. That's one of her favorite looks from three.
3 threes this evening for Caitlin Clark. Lacan into the toolkit. Edwards from the outside. Count it.
Now I'm saying this a lot, but similar to what we talk about with Aaliyah Boston, for Aaliyah Edwards doing the same type of thing and learning to stretch the floor.
Rivers has Hull on her. Miller into traffic. Intercepted by Mitchell. Oh, thought she was going to stop. Just a little stutter.
Ooh-wee. Well, let's start with that Indiana Fever defense. Did a great job on the collapses and a little bit of a zone look here. Kelsey Mitchell shoots the gap. Watch this stop and go. She has got gears, stops on a dime, and then boom. That's a big cross on the Euro for Mitchell. If you're coming straight at, I mean, Sanaya Rivers is such a tough defender. Rivers was already on the get back. She's got length, she's got a quickness. So for Mitchell to be able to create that type of contact and get to the line is something that really just makes her special. And Sanaya Rivers, a young player that just continues to get better and better here in her second year. And the defense is there, the intangibles are there, and now her offensive game continues to flourish.
1 for 2 for Mitchell. Full court pressure from Hull. McCann dumps it back down to Edwards. Here's Rivers. Shot clock winding down. Rivers behind the defense. See the box out from Kelsey Mitchell?
That's big time. But those are the little things. Finishing off a possession.
Clark picks up her dribble. Had to go to the timeout. 55-47. No good. That'll be Billings' second personal. .547 left here in the third. The Sun already have more points in this third quarter than they did all of the second. Offense flowing just a little bit better. That high-low action has worked. The anticipation from Boston. They get it right to Clark. Shoots over Edwards. Stays here.
And it's the cadence of Clark where you think she may be pulling it back out just to set things up and get the ball moving, and that's where she could just fire so quickly with that release.
To Hull. So on time, so on target with her finds. Clark and Lexi Hull will have 2 free throws. Hull has the opportunity to score for the first time this evening. It's that time of year again. Make sure your voice is heard for this year's WNBA All-Star voting presented by Ally. Scan the QR code on your screen now to vote for your WNBA All-Star starters. Already a quarter of a way through this season.
Hard to believe. It's flying. For Lexi Hall, you mentioned the first point. She struggled a bit. She had been shooting the 3-ball really well. Struggled a bit last game and here today. And I think it's important sometimes just seeing it go through and get yourself to the free throw line, get an opportunity, or whether it's an easier basket to try and get your rhythm back.
Some contact down low as Hines Allen and Griner were battling. Hines Allen's second. Pivotal part in the game for the Sun right now. 5:07 left in the third. 10-point deficit. Rivers trying to close it up. Burke with the O board. Morrow.
Think about, though, when saying that you got 2 mid-range looks that were contested. If you're Connecticut, you want to try and do a better job of getting more pressure at the rim in this circumstance.
Billings spins and fades, tipped by Griner. That's what she does. And if anything, trying to get it down low. Coach Mezion talked to us about that today, playing through our team's strengths.
And think about how effective they were at that in the first quarter.
Nice cut by LeCon.
There you go. And to, Coach Mezion telling Caroline Pineda at the half about more pressure defensively. That's also what allowed them to get going, was turning Indiana over.
Cunningham directing traffic. Clark and Mitchell playing off one another. And How did Mitchell get through? That's 2 blocks in a row and a shot clock violation. The impact of Brittany Griner.
Yeah, that's what she does. You got a 7-time All-Defensive Player, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And this is some great help as she comes over. She covers so much ground with that length. And it's not, though, just about her size and wingspan, but the timing that she presents and how quickly she covers ground.
Second in league history in blocks. Got to get it down to her. They do. The hook shot goes.
Just chip away. If you're Connecticut, that's exactly where it starts. Get some stops and see if you can find those ways inside offensively.
Clark loses her defender. That dribble will get you.
And it's just the awareness of always understanding where the defense is at or not.
Morrow met by 2. Doesn't matter. The Sun are fighting. Clark retreats. The handoff. Thought Cunningham was in the corner. Back to Connecticut.
And back to that previous possession, Caitlin Clark just toying with the basketball. And Rivers staying up high, loses her. And that's where Clark just has the awareness. It looks like she's going to be dribbling back out. Griner's in the drop.
So the call on the floor is that it's Sun basketball. Maisha Hines-Allen thinks differently. And Stephanie White's going to listen to her player. Stephanie White signaled for a timeout. Okay. Delay of game on the Fever. We play on. Ledger Walker. And you got to call, if you want to challenge it, you got to call quickly. Foul as Clark is driving. It's on Ledger Walker. 6-point game, 2:35 to go. Indiana up by as much as 11 in this game, and I only bring it up because there's been a series of games where they've had leads and lost them. Hasn't happened in this one just yet. They were up by 19 on Thursday against the Sky. That game went to overtime. They ended up winning. Clark on the dump down to Boston. Misses the chippy. Kick out to Cunningham. No good. Ledger Walker met by traffic. Nelson Adota. She was buzzer beater. Thursday, the Fever needed overtime. As a 4-point game right now, but they were up by 11 at one point.
And this is a Connecticut Sun team that will keep fighting. And there's a difference between taking your foot off the gas and blowing leads and not maintaining your focus, and also teams just continuing to battle and be resilient. And there's a fine line with that. But for the Fever, knowing that this Sun team is not going to be going anywhere.
Stephanie White saying we cannot relax. Have to maintain our sense of urgency. Hines-Allen. No one's looked up at the shot clock. And there was a foul before that. Caroline, we bring you in.
Yeah, in that last huddle, Steph White told her team, lock in and get the ball moving. When we talked to players about playing with leads earlier today, Aaliyah Boston said those last 2 games showed the Fever's resilience, but also she said, we need to get it together and keep leads. She told us to do that. We need to keep our execution and defense at the same level no matter what. Kelsey Mitchell said it's just all about discipline.
Back and forth we go. Four-point game. The Sun had got it to 2. Then Boston went the other way. Clark. Shuffle pass. Too much contact.
And you see some of the frustration building, but This goes back to, for this Indiana team, staying focused and staying disciplined, and that's both ends of the floor. For as much as you know they're a team that can score, it's fueled by what they do on the defensive side, and that's where you see some of those lapses take place. And this is a hungry Connecticut team. They may be 2-12. I've said it over and over again. They've got key pieces back. They're starting to get healthy. They've been in a lot of close games, and at some point they're going to have that shared experience in learning and understanding how to finish them.
Well, and there's been some positivity from all the close games that they've had. Coach White talking about the fact that them able to pull it out against Chicago showed the connectivity against this group, and you said felt like we took a step forward in that area. Leah Boston now has 2,000 points in her career after those free throws. Pushes the advantage to 6. Let's remember, this is a game of runs, too. Only natural. Ledger Walker tips from behind. Hines Allen will play point. Mitchell, back cut.
Just a little bit too much of a lead on that pass. But overall, the quickness in the early offense and getting in the action, and Harris comes right in the game, able to make an impact on the defensive end, and now you see her picking up full court, putting a little bit more pressure.
Well, and the miscue on that pass, but back to what Caroline was talking about when she heard in the huddle, there was ball movement on that possession. Less than 30 to go here in the third. Morrow couldn't get by anyone. Ledger walked her time move. Less than 10 in the quarter. You'd like to think it's Mitchell time. That's Angloma on the rejection.
You're talking ball movement, and the Sun have had some excellent ball movement here as well. Morrow getting in the paint touch, inside out, the kick. Ledger Walker drains it, and accomplished W players that we have seen.
Meantime, we've got a 3-point basketball game as this fourth quarter begins. You have to remember, Connecticut right now only 2 wins on the season. Last in league standings. This is a Fever team with championship aspirations. That's on Angloma. Just her first. A sense of urgency is what Stephanie White says her team needs to hold on to in these last few games.
A sense of urgency, attention to detail, and also taking care of the basketball. They did a much better job of that second and third quarter, but that's what really hampered them in the first quarter. It becomes a possession game when it's this tight down the stretch.
White also saying we need to be the hungrier team. That's the 14th turnover so far this evening for the Fever.
You could feel the intensity of the Sun defense turn up, and especially with the personnel, the lineup that they have on the floor with those capabilities.
You've got Burke, Nelson Adota, Ledger Walker, Morrow, and Angloma on the floor for Connecticut. Burke gets it to Nelson Adota, the pull-up in and out. Boston being that point forward. Up against Morrow, nice spin. Defensive 3 seconds. Which means there should be free throws and the ball back to the Fever. Mitchell will take them.
And an opportunity here to create some breathing room if you're Indiana.
And this possession is pivotal if you're Connecticut, because this is what Coach Mezion talked to us about, understanding what parts in the game require more focus. But Khan picks it up all the way. 2-point game.
How do you like that for focus? Understanding when you need to stop to shift the momentum.
Right back to Connecticut. Relentlessness by Layla Lacan, the French woman.
Layla Lacan, a game changer, now in her 6th game here with the Sun.
To tie it.
Let's go back to the smother in defense. She has been on it all game long. Gets the tip. And the ball ends up going off Clark to change possession. Time. Opportunity now to get it at the line. Those are some heady plays.
Big opportunity for Angloma. Also from France. 1 for 2. (64-63). So many close games for the Fever recently, which means they have experience in these moments. Boston, all across the lane, just all down by Burke. Connecticut has the opportunity to take the lead and does.
What poise and patience by Layla Lacan.
Here in the 4th. Lead back Fever.
Coming out of the timeout, such a well-run and executed play. A lot of diversions on the floor between Mitchell and Clark to be able to get that look off.
That puts the Fever back up by 2. Clark now at 22 points. Shot clock winding down. And a travel call, turnover Sun.
Indiana coming out of the timeout. Well-executed play. You see the stagger screen there for Caitlin Clark. Gives her room to free herself up from Lacan. Knocks down the shot. You say this so often. It's just those plays where she comes off, coming to her left, is where she is so comfortable and she's been in such a rhythm.
And so many of us know it, and she still gets the shot off. Clark just hit that big 3. She's got 4. The 3rd personal on Lacan.
We mentioned it. I mean, Lacan is doing what she's supposed to do and being physical, getting into bodies. You see it right here. Arms getting tied up and tangled up. Hooked up. We might have a challenge here.
We do.
Yeah, well, because I wonder if Clark hooked the arm of Lacan first as she was coming around, which I think potentially is what Rashid Mezion is projecting and why he challenged this call. See her come around, the left arm of Clark coming underneath is hooking the arm of Lacan.
Challenging the defensive foul on the floor.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance this will be overturned. Hey, Lacan has been frustrating. Clark, you see right there. See, it's tough to say because I'm not sure if Lacan had reached in first and then she ended up hooking it. Oh, she's grabbing the shorts too. Yeah, it's been physical. Lacan is doing what she's intended to do of just smothering a lead offensive player like Clark.
And remember, Coach Mezion and the Sun have this challenge because their challenge in the first half on that out-of-bounds play was successful.
The only thing, if Lacan had reached in, if the foul had occurred or the contact that occurred by Lacan of her arm reaching in before that hook happens and the grab of the shorts, that would be the only reason that I would anticipate this won't be overturned. But in watching that in a couple of those angles, you see right there the pull of the arm, but where does it start? So I don't know if that foul is first from Lacan there, and that's just the reaction then by Clark with the hook.
The referees looking at all angles, just like us. Two-point basketball game, 7:22 to go. Clear and conclusive evidence is what the officials have to agree on if it is to be overturned. The Fever are up by 11 at one point in this game. Connecticut regained the lead after a layup from Morrow. And then that Clark three, the execution out of a timeout. It reminds me, obviously not a buzzer beater, but we go back to Monday, right? And the Fever down by 1, I think it was like 4 seconds to go. And that was the exact play that the Fever had drawn up. It was revealed in the press conference. And so this team has shown its ability to execute down the stretch.
Was that only 6 days ago?
Monday. We're still in the same week, sir. It's Saturday.
No, but you're right. And that's a big part of it. And that's a big part of it for both of these teams and groups. Execution coming out of timeouts, the sideline out of bounds, the out-of-bound underplay, those type of plays when you're playing against a set defense and what that looks like and how to free up and grab that type of space. And that's where the Fever benefit because they have multiple options on the floor that you can go to so often.
Caitlin Clark, 22 points on the evening. Comes after she scored 19 points on Monday, 32 points on Thursday, game by game. The rhythm feeling better.
And I think some of that obviously is physical when you're looking at coming back and dealing with injuries, and also the mental aspect of it too, and just making sure that you feel comfortable with where your body is at and how you've been feeling dealing with injuries maybe that you hadn't in the past.
Remember, Clark only played in 13 games.
And then by Clark.
After review, there's no clear and conclusive evidence to overturn the called defensive foul. Therefore, the call stands. Defensive foul. It's an unsuccessful challenge. It'll be Indiana ball, side out 14 on the shot clock. Connecticut cannot challenge again for the remainder of the game.
So we just got the update from Kevin Fahey. Unsuccessful, and it came down to clear and conclusive evidence. Fever basketball. And both teams had time to draw something up. 2-point game. Clark will inbound. On the fade, nice anticipation by Lacan. Stays right here. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Clark has been so on target on the inbounds. They go back to her. She draws 2. Boston left alone. Tie or take the lead. The opportunity the Sun have on this possession. Remember, Morrow got the lead a couple possessions ago. Nelson Adota, she's been efficient.
However, it's tough defense there by Billings.
Interception to Burke. In and out.
So once again, the turnover, it being an issue for the Fever that's allowed an extra opportunity here for Connecticut. And then compound that with picking up a foul.
So it's Boston's 3rd foul. That interception or steal by Lacan, her 3rd this evening.
He's got such great instincts. He's obviously quick, but...
And Gloma just taken out of the air by Billings. If you're the Fever, you want something good. Mitchell couldn't turn the corner. Another low shot clock situation. Boston against Griner. Big shot.
What a strong play by Aaliyah Boston. She just bodies it. It is much easier said than done to body through a player like Brittany Griner and be that strong and physical.
Lacan. Well, and the confidence too.
But Boston does such a good job at angling her body. She's not just going straight on. She's able to create a little distance with that hook.
Another Fever turnover. Back to Connecticut.
And Aaliyah Boston, she so often just does her work where she understands exactly where a defender's going to be. So you see she has a shoulder turn just enough that it creates distance to be able to get off that shot without Griner being able to get any fingers on it.
Contact. It'll be against Clark. Just her second.
Take a look right here. Oh, Brittany Griner now going through her body. Sure, that qualifies as one of those screens that everyone was saying was their welcome to the league moment, but pretty close to it.
And another whistle. So Clark got one foul, BG on the other side. Fever basketball.
Well, and you also need to monitor how this chops up the game a little bit more with the fast pace. You said this during the break, just the game coming to her and the balance of where and when she's getting her shots, the actions that are being run to free her up, but everyone seems to be very much in sync with their spacing on the floor.
They go to Griner, kick out to Rivers. Needed that.
That's a tough shot, high release point, just getting to her spot.
And that's a foul on Hull. Sun basketball.
Well, let's first go back to Sanaya Rivers. Pull up there along the baseline. Does a good job, just as you see, getting over Clark. And then here's an illegal screen called by Lexi Hull. And tough sequence.
Just under 5 to go. BG down low. Showing up at the right time.
Once again, Lacan, it all starts with her penetration, pulling in the defense.
Lacan, and another one, couldn't connect.
Oh, you did all the hard work if you're Connecticut. That was a great run on the break.
Mitchell, between the legs.
We saw that early in the game. She had Nelson Adota pulled out on her, and she is just too tough.
Clark on the floor. Meantime, Burke scores. Under 4 to go. I believe this whistle is for a clock issue. Clark still upset after that hit.
Oh, this is what Caitlin Clark is upset about. The screen set by Griner. Yeah, in a little bit movement with that right shoulder and the body. But these are the circumstances where you need to make sure that you're not allowing how you're feeling about the officiating or frustrations get in the way of your focus on the game. And that's really for both of these sides, for both of these teams. We've seen a physical game. It's what we've become accustomed to, and what we've become accustomed to with Kelsey Mitchell is just playing like she's working a joystick. I mean, look right here, just a stop and go, blows right past Nelson Adota, and also just the room she creates, the ground she covers. I think Nelson Adota thought she might have had help coming from the backside, and it was a clear lane for Mitchell, who has been, once again, really electric tonight in how she's attacked and gotten to the basket.
What gets me, though, is the figure 8 before the burst.
Dude, let me add a little sauce to this before I really get going.
So this stoppage was due to a shot clock issue. I know it coincided with Caitlin Clark sharing her thoughts about the screen from Griner. 3-point game, 3:46 to go. Has Lacan on her.
This has been a fun matchup to watch. They are going at it, and this was a foul, but Lacan, I mean, she's got length, she's got quickness, she's staying in front. You see a little bit of an extension there, but that has been a matchup within the match.
And they stay matched up right here. Clark. Big ups by Rivers. Stays at a three-point game. Nelson Adota all alone on that side. To Griner. The spin cycle.
What a job of Billings in Boston with that inside defense.
To Cunningham. 3 minutes left. Mitchell. Oh, the no look to Boston. Missed opportunity. Connecticut can tie it with a three. Lacan threads the needle. Nelson Adota against Boston. Buckets hard to come by. Last few shots.
Well, and that's what Stephanie White has talked with us about in just closing out games or some of these lost leads. It is missed layups, missed opportunities, some of the little things offensively that you would anticipate going through. And then here you pick up a foul, Kelsey Mitchell doing her best to try and block out, and ends up then keeping possession here with Connecticut.
So the next foul by the Fever will put the Sun on the free throw line. Same thing goes for Connecticut.
Oh,
and so this will be the second delay of game on Indiana.
Just watch right here. And it's a kick. And as you said, it was the second one.
And it'll be Kennedy Burke who steps up to the free throw line. Two-point game. Another opportunity for Connecticut. Rivers denies the screen, elevates.